Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with today's trading action. Now, just excuse me for the croaky voice. I've had a bit of a chest infection this week, but finally back on my feet. Now, there's a few key things coming out. Now, I thought this week was going to really rock and roll, right, with a lot of signals coming out, and it has actually sort of been that way. But I tell you what, these moves, and I was watching them Monday, Tuesday, even early Wednesday, sort of through the Asian session, they hardly moved, right? And sitting around Aussie, sitting around 65, the figure, it's up 10 points. It's one of the slow burners that you sometimes get. And unless you get in at the right time, you can't honestly convince yourself that it's going to keep going, right? I think the dollar weakness is going to be in the market for some time as there's question marks over the Fed. But you know what? The US Treasury yields, they've hardly gone down. They've gone down a little bit. We are seeing a bit of a risk on profile, but it's at that stage where the currencies need fresh fundamental data to sort of get things rocking and rolling, right? And that's, you just got to look to the calendar and think, well, if this isn't convincing enough for yourself, well, then let's have a look at the calendar. We've got a bunch of trade balance numbers out today. The Aussie balance of trade figures were much better, right? I don't usually talk much about balance of trade because it's like one of those sort of nothing numbers. But the balance of trade numbers for China are very important because look at the size of of the balance of trade, right? It's 105 billion compared to like Australia, which is 5. So that's going to be important. There's a few little peripheral numbers like Swiss unemployment, industrial production numbers out of the Eurozone, but then the Bank of England are really going to dominate, right? And a 0.25% cut is factored in. It's going to come down to the press conference, what they come up with, their statement and their press in the press conference, right? So, and then you've got the weekly initial jobless claims numbers, and then the CAD IV PMI would be the best of it, right? You got a couple of Fed cronies speaking there at the end. I don't see much out of that, but and there's sort of like not enough happening. So really, to me, doing some homework here on the technicals on your sterling charts would be advantageous. If the Bank of England come out with a bit of a positive tone, which most central banks do, then we might see sterling against the crosses really kick into gear. And actually, you know what? If I just come back to the charts, you look at sterling against even the dollar, right? It's picking itself back up off the floor, as is euro, right? They're not racing to the top side, which gives us plenty of time to get into the trades. And same with Aussie and Kiwi, right? The bottom four obviously work as a team, right? And they are slowly climbing back. That's the market regaining some confidence in the up move or the downside on the dollar, right? That's all this week is, right? I thought these moves would have happened Monday, Tuesday, and then we see what happens. But it's taken till Thursday in Asia to get these things up 30, 40 points, 50 points maybe. So slow burners, nothing much we can do about that. And I tell you what, one of the other things, when it comes to the live signals, it's about the cycle of the market, right? And like a few weeks back, we had a lot of signals in the Asian session. The signals are now coming European, North American session. So keep an eye on those. Just at the moment, like the moves here on the dollar pairs is very convincing. You just got to wait for the right timing to get into the trade, right? Give yourself the best opportunity. That's what that is doing for you. If you get in on a sell zone signal or a buy zone signal on that goes with direction, you're giving yourself a much better chance of success. All right. And that's where we are, guys. Once again, apologies about the voice. Hopefully I'll be back to normal tomorrow. All right, guys, have a good one. All the best. Cheerio.